Just a quick sound check. One snap on everybody's mic. Not at the same time.
3.8 out of 5.
Whoa, no!
That just doesn't work for us.
Sound, speeding, camera, rolling, scene 76. Take 303, mark.
No half stars on take 303. No half stars on take 303. Alright, no half stars on take 303.
Welcome to Take 303, powered by Fort Wayne Media, the podcast with the guy who knows a lot about film.
And his friend.
I'm Nick Molinari.
I'm JP Brooks. We're talking everything film and television, and today we are talking about Longlegs. And we have a very special guest with us today. You know him. Nick mentions him every episode. Eduardo Martinez. Eddie! Such a bitch. Talk so much shit, and then the camera comes on. No. Eddie, why don't you name a movie that was shorter than what's the movie?
Buddy Mian showed you.
Yeah, name a movie that was shorter than Buddy Mian showed me on.
Longlegs.
There you go.
Yeah. But first, in cinematic news.
Cinematic news.
Horizon.
America's movie, baby.
America's movie for the people. But apparently not for the people of America. Horizon 2 got pulled from its release later this year because Horizon 1 is not doing too hot.
Kevin Costner thinks he's a god. That's why he fucking left Yellowstone. He's an idiot.
I'd like to see the Lego version of Yellowstone.
Elden Ring is getting a movie adaptation. How do we feel about this?
You played Elden Ring?
Yeah.
What do you like to run?
No, I suck at it.
But you played it.
I played it during, actually came out after my promotional exam, so I barely...
Yeah, nobody cares.
I played for like about an hour, and it's super hard, so I didn't get past that. Have you played it?
No, never touched it.
You sounded like you know Elden Ring.
Well, people sound like a lot of things. It's called lying.
There's a Devil Wears Prada 2 coming out.
Stop!
And lastly, Inside Out 2.
Dominating.
It is Pixar's highest grossing movie ever
Great movie.
Look at
in
that.
history.
Well, with inflation, everything being so high, people got to pick movies. You know, they got to be really be really picky about what they go see. This is a guaranteed hit. Summer, families want to take their kids out. If they have nothing else to do, this is an alternative.
But
Not surprised.
I think it's actually a good movie, though. Like, it's a genuinely good movie. Like,
Yeah, it's fantastic. No politics.
No.
No agenda. Just a movie.
We will talk more about Longlegs after the break.
Everybody has a vision. Everybody has a dream. Something that needs to be captured on the big screen. We at Fort Wayne Media love taking your passion projects and bringing them to life. Whether you're a passionate artist or a small business owner, with expert videography and photography, we're going to take what you love to do, what you love to make, and transform it into a cinematic experience. Fort Wayne Media.
And we're back, and we're talking about Osgood Perkins' Longlegs, starring Maika Monroe and Nicolas Cage.
Longlegs follows an FBI agent, Lee Harker, as she investigates Longlegs, a serial killer who's, for the last 20 to 30 years, been killing family after family. And when the FBI cannot figure it out, Lee Harker is on the case, and she starts making headway into the case and starts revealing some sinister backstory. That is Longlegs.
And initial first thoughts. I knew nothing about this movie going in. What about you guys?
Not a word.
I follow the horror subreddit, so it was getting hyped up big time.
I was completely out of the loop. I thought this was like a Slender Man kind of thing based off the name. But I was pleasantly surprised when I got to the theater.
A very serious movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and you could tell from the very opening scene that this was very different than all the horror movies that we have been seeing lately. We still need to remind you that this is the same year that we got the Ghost Pool.
I was thinking about the Ghost Pool during some of the other trailers.
Eddie, I wish you went to the Ghost Pool.
No. I love it.
Ghost Pool.
I always feel like, we're going to investigate what today? It's a Ghost Pool. That's what it feels like. That's what Night Swim feels like.
When we get to the Broskers, I'm going to personally nominate the Ghost Pool.
Yeah. But as far as this movie goes, Longlegs, not knowing anything about it's great. The only thing you need to know is Nicolas Cage is in it. Of course, it did have its Nicolas Cage moment. Thank God.
Oh man! I'm gonna be. You know, you ever see that video? Nicolas Cage just freaking out.
They're
Once a
have
year.
6 minutes.
Once a year.
They're gonna have to add now. They're gonna have to
They
revise that.
have to add this scene in because it was just majestic. Of all, I know that 6 minute video by like heart, like the A B C. Yeah, I love that video, and this mommy, dad. Oh man, this is gonna be a great add to that video.
Yeah, you actually were the first one who showed me that video ever. So
I forgot about that. Yeah, yeah. We were doing something in high school, work at your house, and I was like, "You ever see Nicolas Cage just freak out?"
I watch it once a year. But Longlegs, it's a horror flick, and it's all horror and it's all serious. There are some funny moments, but this really is a horror flick, a thriller.
You made a good comparison. You compared it to the Mavitch.
That is for those who don't know, that is the movie The Witch, but it looks like the W has 2 V's.
Because it does.
Because it does.
I also thought it was very similar to, I don't know if you guys saw Barbarian.
Oh, it's a great movie.
That's a good one. Because it's very serious, very creepy. That's what this movie was throughout most of its runtime. But it also had a lot of humor to it.
When I said The Witch, I think I'm gonna add it in the realm of it's a good movie, but I don't know if I could watch it a second time and enjoy it. It's like The Witch. It was that like, oh shit, like
it's the first time experience.
Yeah.
I think horror movies, it's the first time.
Yeah. So I compared it to The Witch, Midsommar.
It follows on the way.
It follows.
Yeah. It's the slow burn horror, creepy. You're not sure what's gonna happen next. I love movies like that. Also gave me a little bit of Seven vibes. It's hard not to think about the movie Seven.
Gave me Silence of the Lambs vibes.
All the last horror, suspense, thriller movies you've seen in the last 20 years. But it does feel unique. I will say I feel like it's its own thing.
Nicolas Cage, man. I hope he takes more roles. Like, you know, I know that he's been taking, you know, how do you say, less serious, but like things that he has fun with.
Like Dream Scenario.
Yeah.
Last year.
And I think I want him and Adam Sandler have to keep doing this because those two, when they have fun, man, they could. I really like Nicolas Cage in this one. It was like what the even the like the screaming and all that. It had a point. He doesn't just do it like in The Wicker Man where he's just like, oh, the beast!
Oh, the beast!
But this one, it made sense why he was like, it showed like, oh shit, this guy's a fucking maniac. Like this guy is out of his mind, and that I really love this performance.
Casted and honestly unrecognizable for a good amount of the movie. Like they do the Jaws thing where they hide the face for a while. I wasn't quite happy with the scene they chose to show the face for the first time. I think that could have been held even longer. But I absolutely love the makeup job on him. I think he is perfect for this kind of role.
Yeah, that's the thing about like comedians who are very manic and like silly. All it takes is put those same people in a creepy situation in a film that's taking itself really seriously, and all of a sudden, what used to be funny is now creepy and unsettling.
A period piece.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys picked up earlier on to it. That's the 90s. There's Bill Clinton hanging out in the background. Not actual Bill Clinton, a picture of Bill Clinton.
Yeah.
But it takes place in the 90s, which I think is also a perfect setting for it, too, because not only does it... I think that's why it feels like Silence of the Lambs. Early on, there was like only one instance where it felt like a stupid horror movie, where Longlegs goes into her house, and like she goes like who's there at the door, and then walks out into the middle of like, you know, no man's land in the middle of the night. But what I did like is how the 90s amplified how separated people were. It wasn't like you could jump on a cell phone and call somebody immediately. Like when she has to rush to her boss's house later on, she can't just like call ahead. Like she has to hop on a phone, or she just has to drive there.
Yeah, they use payphone, all that stuff. It's all It's all very good. Yeah, and there's a lot of clues and hints in the background of this movie. If you're not paying attention, you'll miss stuff, including the Bill Clinton photo. That's one of them. But I was paying attention a lot to the background, but nothing else was happening. So.
Yeah, there is some early foreshadowing, not like the foreshadowing we've seen in some other movies where you just really point out the bad guy. But I noticed there's a lot of subtext about religious iconography and subtext.
At least from what I've read in my own studies and research, that is actually sometimes like how things go wrong for families. Is an object gets in the house or something, whatever. Unfortunately, stuff like that, we'd like to think like who really are there Satan cults and stuff like that. There are. It always makes me feel a little unsettled when I leave the theaters. So they didn't do too much, but with what they did, they got it pretty right.
My cousin accidentally went to a satanic party, and these
accidentally, yeah.
I tell that to Chris all the time. I ended up at a whorehouse. I don't know. There I was at a brothel. I don't know how I got there.
Even though
in all seriousness, I'm not surprised. I've heard that's a thing.
And it's great that we also have you here, Eddie, because not only was there a lot of religious subtext, but the movie is about police work. FBI specifically. So I know, a little bit, out of your...
Way above your pay grade, yeah.
Whoa!
I was trying to say it. I was like, above you, but...
Subtext, Nick.
Yeah.
Subtext.
So you hit it on the head. But yeah. So,
how does the police work?
Yeah, how does that look in the movie?
Police work in movies suck all the time. Like the first scene when the guy gets shot, no, you're not supposed to stand in front of the door. You're supposed to stand on the side, because that can happen. That will happen. You know what it could have used? We kept saying Seven and Silence of the Lambs, but I think what made those legendary is because it was a lot of show, don't tell. This sort of pushed us a bit in certain instances where I think they understood, I don't think the people are gonna get it. The most recent, I think, J. Edgar's. Amazing at Show Don't Tell. Midsommar last year, 2 years ago, and now we saw his trailer with Nosferatu.
Nosferatu looks so good.
And his trailer's always 1 minute, and it's always a show don't tell. It's I think this movie was on the precipice of fucking, if it just
told a little less.
Yeah, held little less narrative and just showed us. I think we were all we were all getting there anyway. We all understood oh yeah, oh.
I feel like there was probably stuff on the cutting room floor that drew this out, because jumping ahead to cinematography, I was having a time.
Yeah, I know. I can feel your boner.
Yeah, when they did that upside down shot, that was my crane shot.
I hated that shot. Where the fuck are we?
She didn't know. That's why it's disorienting. That's why it works. Dumb.
She stood there for 15 seconds. If you don't know where you are and you're still fucked up, sit down!
She was in a daze, and the camera was upside down like she was.
I really enjoyed the small box in the opening.
Can you come back?
I can't.
When they do that small screen, it's supposed to be mirroring an old camera, basically. But then they shoot everything with a brand new camera and a really beautiful lens, and everything is crisp and clear, and it doesn't match the frame.
That sounds very Framist, if I'm being honest.
I was going to say, I assumed that when it was a small thing, I was it's like a memory.
That this is very creepy. You're seeing it through the eyes of somebody, and so the field of vision is smaller.
I guess I'm thinking too technical on it. It's funny because I just made a movie that is in that frame. We just won an award for it too, just to plug that.
Wow.
Shameless plug.
Shameless, goddamn.
And here we go.
What did we win? Fan favorite, right?
Fan favorite short film. But yeah, cinematography was just looking fantastic. I love the wide shots. I love the it wasn't a crane, it was definitely a drone shot over the cars when they're driving, when they're twisting and turning. Beautiful cinematography, we'll say that. So that's why it reminded me of It Follows. How do we feel about the editing?
I think it's a good overall. Yeah, everything was good. I think my only complaint would be maybe the story, the writing. It was missing a couple pieces to make it perfect, man.
Well, you also took a nice little nap in there.
I did? But that's not the movie's fault. I had a long day.
Literally missed.
I did.
A piece.
No. But what I'm saying, no. But what I'm saying is there's certain the things that I did see, right? So you see, the doll represents. No, not that. No. I again.
She's on the cage. She's looking around for Nicolas Cage, and then the next scene that Eddie wakes up in, he's captured.
That's what I know. What the fuck is that? This is why I wanted to take a nap early in the fucking day. You know, I didn't see 5 to 7 minutes of it.
Yeah, I think you didn't lose more than 10 minutes.
So, but what I did see was excellent. Even if it's just there's scenes at the end where once I pieced it together, I'm like, you could have showed it.
What do you need to happen? Might be in the 7 minutes you were asleep, but what?
No, I think the when she's telling that story.
Oh, the mom. Yeah. That's my problem with it too. Yeah.
The mom. I think I think we would have pieced it together. To be honest with you.
What I like about this movie is that I still think it's good. Obviously, yeah, I probably agree with you. Some stuff they probably should have just showed. I think all that makes sense. The editing I actually think is really great. I actually do like and as much as I shit on the cinematography for being what it is, they chose a lot of weird angles for close-ups of characters, and it's really unsettling.
I did notice that, like, they, like, especially what should have been over the shoulders or singles, they were on, like, 3/4, and they were just odd angles in general, so it always, like, tripped you up of, like, where the camera is going to be. There are a couple jump scares throughout, but a lot of the bigger ones that get you are the ones of just, like, subtle diegetic sounds.
Certain jump scares were a bit too loud. It suffered that Insidious, because you could do jump scares. I feel, again, J. Edgar revolutionized. I'm sorry, I don't want to compare this to, like, J. Edgar now, but you have to. Jump scares are different now. Jump scares, like, he does it sometimes with no sound. It's just like, oh shit, it's there, and it's like, and actually it does. There's a couple, and that's a perfect jump. Like,
that was a good shot.
That was an act. Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah.
So, like, it knew what it was doing. It just.
But, like, that's what I'm saying. Like, the natural sounds that were used on cuts were more effective than the big jump scares, at least to me.
Even just putting the chain on the door was really loud and really good.
Yeah. Her breathing.
Yes.
Her breathing. The
let's
house
talk
is
acting.
Yeah, let's go to acting.
The acting was great. Again, Nicolas Cage carries this. Nicolas Cage, man. And then again, I don't know. I keep forgetting the female actress, but
Micah Monroe.
Micah Monroe is awesome. But again, Nicolas Cage carries this. Like, great for him. I think if people are gonna watch this, they're not gonna be disappointed by Nicolas Cage. He's amazing.
You might call Monroe's acting one note, but the character is one note in a way. I'm a little bit torn about how I feel about her performance. In one sense, it's really good. In another sense, I just feel like you don't see any emotion out of her, but I think her character is supposed to have all the emotion ripped out of her.
Mm-hmm.
So I think for her character, it makes sense, like, especially when she goes into her home.
I haven't seen a bad Micah Monroe movie.
Mm-hmm.
She was great in It Follows. I loved her in The Guest. She is playing a character that has repressed memories. I think she's doing a really good job here, and as you said, Nicolas Cage, unrecognizable, and just a couple moments could have been a little bit more rounded, I think, but they are so Cage, and they are so great. Like, literally, the way I looped both of you in for this week was I was like, there's a horror movie with Nicolas Cage in it, and both of you were just like, sign me up.
And the theater proved it too.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I have not seen that many people on an opening night on a Thursday. Granted, it is summer, but, you know.
It was one of the Alpine has a couple of big theaters. This was in one of it was in one of their smaller ones, but it was packed. People kept coming in looking for seats. I think everyone who walked in was shocked at how many people were there, but I think everyone got the same idea. Nicolas Cage horror movie? Yeah, let's go.
Were there any favorite scenes? Mommy!
There's only one.
There's only one, man.
Only one, and you have to go see it in order to see that.
And the thing is, what I would say about the writing is I actually really like the writing. I like this movie so much, like, I want it to be perfect. Mm-hmm. And I think that's really because I had such a good time with the movie. When she pulls up at the end, and I know exactly what's gonna, like, I put all the pieces in, I go, oh shit.
You leaned over and you were like, it's this.
Yeah, I figured out who was the accomplice.
Yes.
I was starting piecing and then finally...
About 10, I think you were 10, 15 minutes ahead of it?
Yeah, 10, 15 minutes, I figured out who it was. And then, more than that, when she goes to pull up to the last house, and you just already know.
I did a lot of movements. I was like direct. I was like, get out of there.
Because I love horror.
Yeah.
I let it take me. Oh, it would have been so perfect. So it was so, and that's what gets me like a little bit like, oh, it was so close.
The only last thing I want to say about this movie is I didn't feel like I wasted my time at the movie theater today. If you need a cool place to hang out for cheap, go to the Alpine. It was fucking brick inside of there.
Yeah, I'll tell you.
I'll bring it
on the 5 scale, it was a 6 out of 5 on the AC.
Bro, you saw me?
You forgot that you were in a heat wave.
Did you see me fucking put my hands inside?
The guy at the end, he watched us do it. He did it too. Everybody, just no arm.
I was like this. I was like just trying to make.
I think that's also why, like, because at the beginning, like, I was like I'm like, oh my god, it's so good. I'm gonna go to sleep, aren't they?
But I think we're good for final thoughts.
Yeah, final thoughts.
Longlegs, just like its title, surprised me from the very start. I had no idea what it was going in. And as I was there, I was still trying to learn more about it. I think that kind of storytelling is really just not done a lot lately. It's a lot of spoon feeding, and there is some spoon feeding in the third act. But I think overall it's a very intriguing movie. I love thrillers. I love mystery movies. So this is right up my alley. All the movies that we referenced during this episode are like heavy hitter movies. Seven. Zodiac was another one that I thought about during this movie.
I love Zodiac.
And for such a short runtime of an original idea that is reminiscent of a lot of things, I feel like this is like the Tarantino mashup of horror movies right now. And also, we haven't mentioned it, I didn't go into a little bit of a lore dump, but this movie is directed by Osgood Perkins, and he is the son of Anthony Perkins, who, spoiler alert, is the psycho in Psycho. I think this movie solidifies him. He's made a bunch of movies already. I haven't seen any of them. I had one of them on my watch list for a while, The Black Coat's Daughter. And this, I think, is a movie that's going to make me want to go back and check out what he's doing in the past. But also, I think this is his ticket to making more horror movies like this. And I love that idea. So I think the acting is really good. I love the cinematography. You know that. Big fan of the sound design. I would have liked a little bit less of the jump scares that were created, after the fact. But I think I had a genuinely good time. It's a great popcorn horror film, and I think it's not perfect, but honestly, I think it did a really good job. I'm gonna give it a 5 out of 5.
Wow! I didn't think you were gonna go there.
I was teetering on a 4 and a 5.
I felt it.
I was like, you know what? I'm gonna give him a 5.
Nicolas Cage carries movie. He's only, I think it was runtime was like around 10 minutes, 12 minutes. Carries the movie. Overall, writing was good. Cinematography was great. Editing was great. I'm gonna give it a 4 out of 5 because again, it's not perfect. It's not a perfect horror film. It's right now it's like top 4. Yeah, it's not better than Dune. It's not better than Inside Out. But I think it's up there. I think, and it's gonna get kicked because of the juggernauts that are gonna come out later this year. But I really, this is a great horror movie to put on in Halloween, and people who don't see it are like, oh shit, this is a good movie. And like Barbarian came out of nowhere. Like last year was an honorable mention. So
this I feel will get like more word of mouth.
Yeah, absolutely. No, again, I think it's also
cult potential.
Nicolas Cage, I think a lot of people were doubting that he has so much star power just because of his lore, and I think that's gonna carry this movie. 4 out of 5.
Well, I was doing some reading. He signed on as a producer early on into the project.
Well,
that's how he got his funding and everything.
That's how he believed. He saw the script and he's like, yo, I like this shit, man. I'm gonna do
Mommy?
it.
Yeah, so Longlegs, an interesting movie. If there's one thing I will say, this was not a forgettable movie. You will remember this movie for a while. I think it's this generation Seven, this generation Zodiac. A slow burn, especially in the middle. It is slow, but I enjoy movies that take its time building it up if it's interesting. And I think even though it's slow, it is interesting at the end of the day. And I think you have lots of questions. If you like mystery, if you like puzzles, if you like being at the edge of your seat, this is the movie. I agree with Eddie on some of the writing problems, some of the way they chose to do things. And yes, it is slow, and I think for some people to take it out. I think this movie reminds me of Evil Dead Rise last year. For a horror movie, I think it's a 5 out of 5. Like, in the realm of horror, I can't think of a better horror movie to watch. And I think it's last year's Evil Dead Rise. Like, people might forget about it. I don't know if they will, but like, it's a solid entry into the horror genre. If I think of horror movies last year, Talk to Me, Evil Dead Rise, those are on it. I'm really hoping that Longlegs isn't shined out by other movies. Like, I really hope that Longlegs proves like this is the formula to a good horror movie, and all these other ones suck, so it's not forgotten. This might be one where I go back and change my rating. Right now, it's a 4 out of 5. I think it has the 5. I'm stuck between a 4 and a 5 too. I am going to give it a 4, just for the simple fact I think the spoon feeding at the end really bothers me. That being said, it's been another episode of Take 303. Thanks so much for watching. Of course, we want to thank our not even specials, just fucking Eddie. You get talked about so much. I don't know why you just don't become the official third, but that's just me saying that. Eddie, thanks so much for coming by. Thanks for watching with us. Always good to go to the theater, especially the Three Bromigos. Make sure you're following us at Take.303 and 4way_media on Instagram, and make sure to take out Take 303 on YouTube. Check us out. Leave a comment, leave a like, do all that jazz. And this week's poll question of the week is, who is Nicolas Cage's craziest character? We'll have a whole bunch of lists. Love to hear your thoughts on it. And then, of course, since we already talked about it, it's coming up soon. Halfway through the year. This is July, 7th month. What has been the movie of the year thus far for you? We're halfway through. Do you have any Oscar predictions? I don't. That being said, we'll catch you next time when we watch
Twisters.
Are we really going to see that? Talk to you later. Thanks so much for watching. Bye-bye.